Well, if your relationship seems strained, it may be because you are connected to the wrong thing and keeping your home secure. I'll show you how. Plus, Jacob is here cooking up a storm. Mid-morning starts now.
WCBI's Mid-Morning with Aundrea, breaking away from your everyday.
And good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for watching Mid-Morning. I'm Scott Martin, sitting in for Aundrea at her table. Well, most of us have insurance for our health, our cars, and even for our homes. But do you buy insurance if you plan to go somewhere, like on vacation? Well, AAA says that nearly 40% of Americans are likely to buy travel insurance for an international flight. But a new report is warning folks that the coverage might not give consumers the protection they were expecting. Chris Van Cleve reports.
I could just feel my blood boiling.
Laura Tropiano spent nearly $1,100 on flights to Europe for her and her husband Matt, a Marine veteran who did tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, to celebrate their second anniversary. With the trip 10 months away, she bought travel insurance through the airline.
You book the trip, you've got this great plan, what happens?
So about a month after we booked the trip, I find out that I'm pregnant with my daughter. And she's due October 21st. And our flight to come back from Europe was October 19th. So naturally, you can't fly when you're that pregnant.
While the insurance covered illness, it did not cover pregnancy. Her claim was denied.
The only thing skimpier than airplane legroom is the coverage of these insurance policies.
A review by Senator Ed Markey's office found nearly all major U.S. airlines and online booking sites sell travel insurance, typically requiring customers to click yes or no to purchasing before being allowed to book a trip. The report found what it calls questionable travel insurance marketing practices for policies that offer minimal coverage and often erect hurdles to the payment of claims.
Consumers are being tipped upside down, money is shaken out of their pockets, and it's split between the airlines and the insurance companies, and it's just plain wrong.
Just two companies underwrite all those policies. In a statement, the U.S. Travel Insurance Association said the industry was not contacted by Senator Markey, adding, travel insurance is a valuable product that protects consumers' financial investment. The group recommends that travelers fully understand the coverage options they are purchasing to make sure it fits their needs. The purchase of travel insurance is voluntary.
The solution ultimately is a more informed consumer, by which I mean people actually reading the fine print.
For Laura and Matt, the airline refunded the taxes on their canceled trip, but they were out more than $700.
We reached out to Norwegian, the airline that Laura was flying. The airline says it believes its trip protection and cancellation policies were properly followed. However, it's going to offer a goodwill refund of the remainder of Laura's airfare. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Washington.
And I don't know about you, but being out of pocket $700, that's quite a bit of money. Well, speaking of being out of town, some people might be thinking about home security. Homeowners and business owners here in the Golden Triangle are reporting an increase of burglaries. But there are some things that you can do to keep your home safe. Our Riley Livingston shows us what we can do.
Summer is winding down, but burglaries know no season. Sheriff Eddie Scott tells us break-ins are a constant problem.
Burglaries, it really goes on 12 months a year. We do see an increase during the summer months. The majority of them is going to be juvenile related, but not necessarily all of them. Out in the county, for instance, we deal with a lot of drug-related burglaries versus where the city is dealing with juveniles.
With people spending more time away from home, many are looking for ways to protect their property.
They are. The security cameras, the lighting, the alarms, all of that helps. And of course, in these days, we recommend it.
But Sheriff Scott says don't just invest in any security company.
Make sure that you research this company that you're dealing with. Be careful who you let in your house, because it could be somebody that's up to no good that's casing your house out. They'll come back at a later date.
One problem local sheriff offices see time and time again is social media.
And again, social media, we keep telling people, don't be posting on there when you're going to be out of town for a week. Have neighbors or somebody watching your house. If they see anything suspicious, call 911. That's what we get paid to do. Don't approach these people. Call us and let us come.
We talked to some people about how they try to protect their homes, and some have some creative solutions.
We have a rather large dog at home, and he provides pretty good security, and I've got the rare element of a guard pig at home. We have about a 300-pound micro mini potbelly pig that a lot of people are scared of.
wouldn't mind investing in a guard pig. That sounds kind of fun. Well, another friendly tip from Sheriff Scott: if you do invest in a security camera, try to have it in your driveway facing the roadway. That way police can try to identify the car and the license plate number of the potential suspect if your home is hit. Well, in a world of high tech, why are we all so out of touch? Well, here's a hint: put down your phones. I'm guilty of it. Well, stay tuned. That story is still ahead on Mid-Morning. Well, welcome back, everyone. The next time you go out to eat lunch or dinner at a restaurant, look around and see, are couples talking with each other or are they buried in their phones? Sometimes I have to say it's a habit with me and my group of friends, but new research shows our love affair with our phones is starting to ruin our real-life relationships. It's also revealed we're choosing to text or email bad news rather than having those difficult conversations face-to-face. Cleo Frazier has the story.
A romantic dinner with your loved one, ruined by a text message.
Bloody annoying.
There's a time and a place for your phone. You can go on your phone another time, really.
My wife does it all the time. Can you cut that out?
Beware, constantly using your phone when you're with your partner could leave you single. Phone company 2 Degrees surveyed more than 2,500 people aged 16 to 75. Almost 40% believe their partner's screen time is impacting the quality of their relationship. 1 in 5 said it made them feel insignificant.
People are social creatures. They need the interaction with their partners or, family. When someone's preoccupied on the phone, it decreases connection, it decreases validation. They don't feel prioritised.
Even just the presence of a phone can be irritating.
People automatically feel that there's an intrusion into that conversation with just having an iPhone sitting on the table.
Another notable finding in the survey is that more people are using their phones to deliver bad news. It found that people are hiding behind their phones instead of having those tough face-to-face conversations.
So a lot of the communication is non-verbal, so you're missing the nuances, you're missing how does that piece of communication impact on that person.
On the upside, the poll found a third of families have a rule banning devices at meal times. Or you could do something really drastic and get rid of it altogether.
I don't have a smartphone myself, so maybe because I don't look at my phone, they don't look at theirs.
So the new definition of date night could be simply switching off your phones. Cleo Frazier, News Hub.
Getting rid of it altogether might be a little much, but definitely set some boundaries for sure. So what about the people who create this technology? You might think that Bill Gates and Jack Dorsey stay connected all the time, but spoiler alert, they don't. We all need to unplug from time to time. CBS's John Dickerson recently spoke with Twitter co-founder Ev Williams, who Forbes called the LeBron James of online publishing. He stepped down as Twitter CEO in 2010 and later started the blogging platform Medium. Williams regularly steps away from technology through meditation, yoga, and walks in the woods.
Do you think Twitter is responsible or is part of that inundation period or feeling?
I think people can get swept up in Twitter, just like or any social media, for sure, and people need to be conscious of how they use it.
Is there any way in which Medium is a kind of antidote to Twitter in that we've become so focused on the now and the Twitch that we need really to be pulled into something deeper?
Well, the way I think about it is like an information diet, and that you can't live on social media alone. Often it's that hamster wheel of what's happening right now. What we try to do with Medium is provide a space for things that aren't necessarily of the moment.
Whose responsibility is it to solve this challenge that we all feel, and which is the shredding of attention?
I think, first of all, the responsibility is on ourselves, for ourselves and for our children. We're in charge of what we put in our minds. And to blame anyone else for that, I think, would be not fair and not wise.
What about the technology companies, though, who are playing on our attention?
Well, I think that there's some responsibility there, certainly, and I think there's a new awareness in the companies that I'm familiar with that it's not all good necessarily. It can be too much, and anyone building technology, I would expect, if they're being responsible, their goal is to actually serve people. And if that's not the goal, then I think that they should rethink it.
You have kids, you talk about kids, and what are the rules for devices with them?
We have rules. They're 6 and 8. They don't have any social media accounts. They have iPads. We let them use them on the weekend for a limited amount of time, and an hour or so. So we're figuring it out as we go, and we're trying to set good examples, but we don't always do that. My little one the other day, I was on my phone, and he was waiting for me. He said, "Oh, why are adults always on their phones?" I was like, yeah, thank you for that reminder.
Oopsie daddy, that's what that was there. All right, well, you can't miss their spirit. The firefighters of Samoa, their story is just ahead here on Mid-Morning. Welcome back this morning, everyone. The kindness of strangers. It happens more than you think. And for one young man who turned 16 the other day, strangers gave him the surprise of his life.
Dakota Cad, or Bubba, often sits in his backyard along Wisconsin State Highway 26, hoping truckers will blow their horns for him. On Saturday, those truckers went the extra mile to give him a birthday surprise. Bubba has cerebral palsy and Dandy Walker syndrome. Peg Cad is Bubba's mom.
I can't even imagine what it's going to be like when we pull into the park.
Dakota, look at! Do you think they came for your birthday? Me? Yeah, for you.
Are you ready? Okay, come on down. Oh, look at!
Happy birthday!
There's a hug for you, buddy. He's singing happy birthday to you?
Birthday, dear Bubba!
Oh, buddy.
The story of how hundreds of trucks and more than 1,000 people came together to celebrate Bubba's birthday started with one small act of kindness.
Dakota was out in his normal spot, sitting there pumping his arm, and I noticed there was a bag on the ground, and it was a little semi-truck, and I realized that somebody had taken the time to stop on the highway and throw this package for my son over the 5-foot fence.
Bubba's mom posted about finding the present on Facebook, writing, "Please, if you know C.H. Hull Trucking, telling them whoever did this is awesome." It went viral and finally led to truck driver Mark King. He and other truck drivers who'd passed Bubba waving at them wanted to do something special, so they planned this party.
I've always had a soft spot for children in wheelchairs, probably because I grew up with a sister in our home that she was handicapped. Did you have fun today, Bubba?
Yeah. What child ever gets something so special like this? To see people embrace my son, giving him hugs and wishing him happy birthday, and it's amazing that there are folks like that out there.
Such a sweet story. Those little things can really make a big difference. Well, staying positive and upbeat in the middle of a crisis, there's a team of firefighters who travel far just to pitch in, and as Maria Villaro reports, this group helps fight the fire and the emotional fatigue.
These are the all-too-common sounds, familiar to anyone caught up in one of nature's most powerful acts of destruction. Far more unusual is what takes their place when they finally subside. A choir of strong, steady voices echoing through the cathedral of a burnt-out forest. A sound rarely, if ever, heard anywhere in the Northern Hemisphere.
Everyone always asks, where is American Samoa? And we're like, it's just a little dot on the equator.
Meet the National Park Service's Samoa 61 fire crew, 17 guys from that little dot on the equator.
We're here for a purpose, you know, we want to help. So we're going to cut that part a little bit.
Anthony Wyberski is one of the team's vets. For the past 5 summers, he's made the almost 5,000-mile journey north, along with a group he calls his brothers.
We try and bring back our culture, our Samoa. We try and stay positive. What a lot of people tell us is that they've never seen a fire team so positive.
That positivity comes through music. Without warning, they break into song. Just about everywhere. From the mess tent to the dusty old school bus they ride into the fire zone each morning. Each day ends back at camp with the same inspirational anthem.
It's a church song, and it's just something that's part of our culture. Our belief in God is very strong.
The team can earn almost half a year's salary during a month on the fire lines. But with all this grueling, back-breaking work, it's not the main reason they do it.
They feel like they're helping America.
Nate Gonya coordinates the movements of federal fire crews like the Samoans.
They feel like they're part of this country right now. And these guys have so much energy that people just want to be part of it.
You guys are happy all the time, all the time.
Yeah.
How can you be happy doing some of this?
I don't know, it's just the way we're raised back home.
And in a region that suffered so much loss, that infectious energy is a welcome import from a spiritual culture on the other end of the world. I don't know what just happened. Mireya Guerriel, Redding, California.
It's always good to find the silver lining in the midst of tragedy. Well, stay with us. Coming up next, meteorologist Jacob Dickey is cooking up a storm next on Mid-Morning.
Cooking Up a Storm is brought to you by Kroger. Fresh food, low prices.
Well, if you like a dish that is just bursting with flavor, we have the answer for you. Meteorologist Jacob Dickey is here this morning cooking up a storm Mediterranean Fiesta dip. This sounds delicious.
It's going to be great. It's feta dip.
Feta dip, yeah, feta dip, what did I say?
You said fiesta.
Fiesta, that's what it looked like was fiesta.
Yeah, it'd be perfect for a party too. You can have that. This is a great dip that has a lot of flavor, and last week we did a back to school. I think we need a back to summer, because who wouldn't want to be in the Mediterranean right now, right?
Right.
On a pool chair,
Take
something
me
on the
there
side.
right
So
now.
This might be the closest we can get to that there, but delicious and full of flavor, and really something that's going to be perfect for a party or things like that. So, ready to get started?
Let's do it.
All right, let's get cooking. So first thing we're going to do is just have a nice little platter or something like that. I like a nice square plate. We're going to have it like oil. Think of if you go to an Italian restaurant, they have that oil plate where you can dip. That's exactly what this is going to be like here. So I'm going to cover this bottom with oil here. So it's olive oil is going to be perfect for this there. So I got a nice little layer there. There's my base. And
that's a deep base,
It really is, so. Yeah. It helps to contain the mess and make sure I don't slosh it around. I get a little messy sometimes, but...
That's what to say, so am I, so...
That's right, yeah. So we're going to go ahead and put some tomatoes in here. I've got Roma tomatoes, and I diced them up, and I'm just going to sprinkle some on in there. And you can do about 2 to 3 if you want to. Just kind of depends on the size of your container, but I want to get enough in there where it helps to add to the flavor and to the color, and probably get one more scoop in there, and we'll call that good.
It's not one of those things where less is more, right?
No, you put more in you want. If you don't like tomatoes as much, maybe you do a little bit less. I'm going to have a little bit of green onion also. I'm just going to sprinkle some in there. And I chop this up, about 5 or 6 stalks worth, depending on the plate. But again, you look at it and say, oh, that looks like enough there. Then we're going to take a little bit of my seasoning. This is a Greek seasoning, a homemade recipe that I have. And it's on the website. When you go there after the show, you can get this special blend.
And anything homemade is good.
That's exactly right here. But you can, if you want to, you can find a Greek seasoning at the Kroger. They've got them usually, or some store like that. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit on here, and lots of flavor. In fact, I should let you probably smell it a little bit.
Oh, I can, and it does smell good.
It's very good, yeah. So we got nice seasonings in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my feta cheese then, and we're going to sprinkle some in.
Feta cheese, feta cheese.
Yeah.
That's a fun word to say.
And very
everybody at home, say feta. Yeah. Feta.
Very much a nice Greek cheese there. So I've got a spoon here. I'm going to go ahead and just slightly mix this a little bit to help get some of that flavor really nice and stirred around, but not too much to where I'm just making it look. I want it to still look good when I have it there and things like that. So there's my nice feta dip there. The last secret ingredient, and this is this recipe, by the way, is from my Uncle John and Aunt Stacy's. They recommend the Paul Newman's own balsamic vinaigrette. So I'm just going to shake it up here in the bottle. I'm going to add a little bit on top, and that's going to add so much to it here in my dip. So
I don't think I've actually had balsamic vinaigrette. I'm not a big vinaigrette kind of guy, but
yeah, this here, we put just a little bit in there to give it some flavor, but it's not overpowering or anything like that. So there we go. There's my plate there. And this is what you should just have out on the table. You can have a deeper dish with it, a little, plate, or if you want to put it in a bowl, whatever. But that looks really colorful and good there on the camera. And that's a great party dish right there.
I was about to say.
For dips and things like that.
And quick.
Very quick. Yeah, that's
quick.
all it was there. Now, things to serve with it. Obviously, we want to eat it. That's the best part of this show, right?
Can we eat it now?
Yeah, sure. So we've got some pita chips. You can do that there. These are just some plain ones and dip it on in. Or Kroger has these homemade French baguette breads that you can buy, 8 to 10 minutes, and helps to really. Once you put it in the oven for 8 to 10 minutes, it cooks them up here. So I'm going to take a slice of bread here, dip it on in, and try it there.
Yeah. I would say if you're a tomato fan, definitely add more tomatoes.
More tomatoes? I'm going to little of that balsamic in there.
It's not bad.
It's really good.
And like you said, if you're serving a party, I like to entertain. I want something quick and easy that you can get out on the table that people are going to enjoy. So,
absolutely. So if you try it, I think myself it needs just a little more seasoning there. So I'm going to go a little heavy on it in the end here and kind of stir it in a little bit.
You went really heavy. I don't know if they saw that, but you went really heavy right there with it.
That seasoning, the homemade blend's got a little bit of nutmeg in it, and that's going to add a nice spice to it. And it's got some oregano, of course. A lot of those Greek blends that are in there to really make it good. So that's this feta dip recipe that we've got there. And I like cheese, so I might add a little more feta cheese. But maybe you're not a feta chease fan. You could always try mozzarella in there and do things like that.
I'm in any kind of cheese fan.
I am too. And if you have any sort of whatever you want, you can. If you can't find a Greek seasoning, an Italian seasoning would be great in there. But we can add these things and make it look like a nice platter. And it's almost like you go to a nice restaurant and they have that bread dip as an appetizer.
And they can find this recipe online.
This will be online. You go to the website wcbi.com, click on community, click on Storm. We'll have that there. We've got all of our recipes in the past there.
Sounds good.
Lots of great things.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jacob. Stick with us. We'll be right back to wrap things up. All right, well, thanks so much for watching Mid Morning, everyone. Don't forget, you can find this recipe over on our website and the Mid Morning Facebook page. Be sure you follow us on social media. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Have a good morning.